Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Dr. Talks with Anthony. Today we're going to have a type of conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development and just to well-being, right? But in today's conversation, we're talking about why certain people activate us more than others, right? So the people who trigger the strong emotions in us often touching something deeper than the present moment, right? So I really want us to be kind of just, be real with this, right? So some of the people around us can be, our friends, or even people that we least expect, right? Even our family, right? Like I said, people out here that come from dysfunctional, backgrounds and situations could, let's be real, we can have family that we really adore, really see as our heroes, our loved ones, right? Like, you feel me? Like our perception is a little bit more skewed because of how things just work, right? Like I said, dysfunctional, right? And sometimes that these people that we adore, right? We see, like I said, as a hero, right? They could say something and it can cause a lot of chaos for us. It can cause a lot of dysfunction and stress, and cause us a lot of disparity, right? Due to them having that impact. So I really want us to kind of have some understanding, normalization, and reducing some of that shame, right? So most people have experienced being disproportionately affected by a particular person. Like I said, this individual, right? You may not have that clarity yet because, we're growing, you're understanding, right? But that's why it's important to have therapy, that support, right? Self-differentiation, right? Some of these terms, as you grow in the channel, you're going to be able to kind of understand more of these things, right? But it's really important to understand and have that awareness, right? So sometimes a small comment of one person's hurt can really impact, like I said, that inner criticism regarding yourself, right? So this doesn't mean that you're overly sensitive, doesn't mean that you're irrational, doesn't mean that something's wrong with you, right? You are a person, you do matter, right? But you got to understand how these experiences impact you, right? So strong emotions or reactions often carry important information about the history, needs, and even your vulnerabilities, right? And like I said, when you're around the people that you love, right, the people that you adore, the people that you trust, right, you're open, you're vulnerable, you're your true self with them, right? So some of these things that you're able to share, you just by just you being you, right, could be used against you, right? So we've been in these situations. I want to be real with you in regards to my life. I've been in these situations as well, right? But we're able to understand that, right, these things do not define us. We can have resilience. We can have a positive mindset. We can get the support, right? And we can have the self-awareness and the reassurance of ourselves on what we want things to look like and be for us, right? So I want you guys to have that reassurance, right? You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to have someone define you, etc. You're able to define yourself and really get back by having your values, right? So in regards to psychoeducation, our brains are constantly look familiar patterns in those relationships, right? So we're always connecting to what feels familiar to us, right? So certain people may remind us consciously or unconsciously. Like I said, some people may know what they're doing and do it implicitly, right? Like, they're aware of it. And sometimes people just be doing things, just saying things because they don't really know the impact of what's really going on, right? So I really want us to understand that as well, right? And regarding our past experiences, right? So like I said, sometimes you could be thriving, you could be doing everything good, trying to get yourself on the right path, but you have family, you got your siblings, you have a sister or a brother, etc., telling you who you used to be, right? You used to be getting in trouble. You used to be getting in the mix. You used to be hanging out with the wrong crowd. You used to be with that girl that, you feel me? That was dragging you down, the crazy girl. You feel me? Like people always trying to do things to pull you back, low vibration, right? So I really want you to understand, right? Keeping this transparent, right? These could be the people that you love, you adore, right? That you were groomed with, you was really with, right? They seen, you feel me? You feel me? You was really in the mud with them, right? But like I said, I don't want you to take into consideration as well as, like, don't let these experiences define you, right? They did happen. There were moments, right? And they were with you, right? But they don't define you. So yeah. So let's move forward in regards to, our reactions are often, like I said, amplified when situations, touch our core fears, such as rejection, such as abandonment, like criticism, things that people were said to you, right? Like I said, powerful people in our dynamic, mom, papa, you feel me? Like our parents, right? Even having that betrayal, people not having that integrity. They say they're going to do something, going to pick you up after school. It wasn't there. You had to find your way home, right? There's different situations that we had, encountered, right? Even feeling not even valued, right? Right? The only time you feel valued is when you're active service, you're actively doing something for someone, you're cleaning up, you're doing yard work, you feel me? When someone needs you to do something, hit the store, pick it up, like, you're only getting that, affirmation when you're doing something for that person, right? These things are not healthy, right? But I really want to understand, like I said, for those out there that come up with these dysfunctional dynamics, like, let's really put the connections together. Let's really understand how we're able to improve, heal, etc. Like our situation, our circumstances, our, they don't define us. We're able to understand and improve our situation with the positive mindset and really doing this inner work, right? Moving forward in regards to core insight, right? So the intensity of the reaction is not always about, this, current person. It can often be about old emotions, wounds, and different things that, activate us in the present, right? Like sometimes we even have flashbacks, but we also, like I said, someone can say one word and that could pull us back, right? So, or that person that affected you may not be there, but the thoughts, etc., different experiences, or just even a thought could just bring you back there, right? So understand those emotions. That's why I always advocate for journaling, really building that rapport with yourself, releasing this off your chest, release the stress off your body, right? It's important to work out. 20 minutes walking around the block, like really release this out of your body, the cortisol, right? Like do things that you enjoy, right? Like give you the peace of mind, like really have that mindfulness for yourself, right? Don't allow these things to, like I said, control, your wellness, your well-being, and how you're able to move in your life, right? Moving forward in regards to practical reframing, in regards to how we're able to respond with that curiosity, right? So like I said, when these thoughts linger, these things happen, right? How we're able to, like I said, build more curiosity. Let's get some more understanding. Let's really pull, some understanding. Right. So instead of asking, right, why am I, reacting so much? Why is things happening to me? Why am I torped? Why is, like, why, ask yourself, what is the reaction trying to protect? What am I holding back? Right, so notice whether the emotion matches the current situation or feels larger than the moment, right? So is this really deep right now, or is this something just like really trying to pull me down, like my vibrate? What's really going on, right? And really understand like what approach on how you're going to be able to respond to it, right? So approach your reaction with, like I said, that curiosity, understanding the situation, having that awareness rather than judging yourself, pulling yourself down on a negative standpoint, right? So like I said, we're trying to understand what's going on, right? Having awareness, so we're able to, like I said, when these things do happen again, they do come and they go, right? We're able to understand how we're going to keep our peace of mind, right? So instead, like I said, thinking negative, pulling yourself down when these things do transpire, right? And having certain people or certain things, situations that transpire in our mind, these memories come, they come and they go, right? Allow ourselves to take a deep breath, give ourselves that reassurance, feel me? Have that compassion, being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves that reality check, like, nope, I'm cool, I'm good, you feel me? Like, really, you feel me? Doing what you gotta do, that's gonna get you back to the get back, right? So moving forward, in regards to, like I said, some micro action, because when we know better, we're able to do better, right? So think of someone who consistently triggers, your strong emotions. Like I said, think of that person, right? We all have somebody around us. Like I said, for those out there in the dysfunctional dynamics, I need you to be real. I need you to, like I said, stop facilitating this facade, stop playing, everything like it's sweet, like I really need you to understand like really what's going on, how this is affecting you and your wellness and your well-being, right? Like I said, some of us out here, we gotta put boundaries up, a good analogy that I was able to learn recently is that, in regards to self-differentiation, right? Because like I said, some of us are coming from dynamics of where people put things in us to be a certain type of way, right? But that's not who we truly are. Right? I wasn't supposed to be this individual that you see today. You feel me? I was supposed to be the opposite, tore from the flow up. You feel me? Y'all know what's up. Like, I'm a black man. Y'all know what's up. You feel me? So it's like, I don't really got to get too into the, but pulling it back to it, it's like, you feel me? Is that the analogy is like a tennis court, right? Your responsibility is to be on your side. You feel me? Other people, what they got going on, what they say, this, that, they criticize you, let them stay on their side, right? Let them stay on their side. You stay on your side. Right? And it's your responsibility to make sure that you're doing the inner work, make sure that you have your own values, make sure that you love yourself, make sure that you got the support, make sure that you keep, this positive mindset, right? Make sure that you're doing this inner work so that you're able to have that awareness, right? Pull the bad, learn from it, right? But just make sure that you're able to marinate yourself in the good, right? Make sure that you're doing things that keep you and yourself peaceful, whole, right? So you're able to, like I said, not live in this facade, not live fake, not live to accommodate and appease all these people that don't even really rock with you or understand you or trying to respect you or trying to have the corrective action to really help themselves out or even you out as a connection, as a whole, as a work family or not family, right? So I really want us to understand that we're able to cultivate a life of happiness, cultivate a life of peace, cultivate a life of not having this dysfunction, right? We have to understand that we're able to improve at any given time, but we also all got to understand as well is that we only can control ourselves, right? So these environments, these situations, these people, right? we can't control everything. We only control ourselves. So I really want us to understand that with this mindset, with this inner work, and with the support, we're able to improve, right? So pulling it back, like I said, some micro action things that we're able to do to really think about, like I said, be real to yourself. Think about this person. Who's someone that constantly is trying to trigger you, or just is really working to really mess with you in your head, to lessen your full potential, holding you back, trying to have you down, how to have you like a servant, working for them. You feel like, what's really going on? All right, so ask yourself, right? So what feeling comes up often or most around this person? What's really going on? Like I said, get this thing out, get this journal out, write these things down. What's really going on? Build this rapport with yourself, right? And this is for you. You ain't got to tell the person. You ain't got to tell people what's going on, right? This is for you. So really do this thing. Really apply yourself, right? Next is going to be what fear or need might be underneath this feeling. Like, what's the emotion? What's going on? Am I feeling irritable? Do I feel like, what I mean? What's going on? Time does this happen? How long is this happening? What's really going on, right? And once again, like I said, this is for you, right? But like I said, find someone that you trust, aka, like I said, a professional. You know what I mean? Like when you have these conversations, they're in a conducive environment, right? And really build this rapport with someone so you're able to, like I said, heal, understand the emotion. You feel me? With someone, because like I said, some of these things are going to be intense for us to be able to really navigate, right? But I don't want us to feel stuck and be stagnant in our lives, right? We have to be able to work through these things. That's why the therapeutic process, having that support, having a professional will be beneficial, right? But like I said, asking yourself these questions and understanding, having self-awareness will do you justice. However, like I said, a trigger can become opportunities for, like I said, that self-awareness. Like I said, build that rapport with yourself. Journaling, you feel me? I cannot advocate for this a much. However, like I said, if you feel like you need that support, please reach out for that support because it's going to do you justice. If you found the video beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share possible, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed.